You're pretty much asleep, but then out of nowhere, you are jolted awake. You feel the rush of adrenaline and your sleepiness has completely disappeared. If you are specifically struggling with falling asleep or staying asleep, these jerks, or we call them hypnic jerks, can feel unbelievably frustrating and annoying, and at times also concerning. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down what these are, why are you being jolted awake to begin with when you are so tired, are they dangerous, and also what you can do about them when they do present themselves. And if you are new here, welcome. My name is Fiona. I'm a recovered chronic insomniac turned holistic sleep coach. And I struggled with these hypnic jerks, or being jerked awake at the beginning of my sleep, a lot. And I know it's very frustrating to feel like you're not getting the right support, the right answers, the right tools, which is why I create these videos. And if you are still stuck in the cycle of insomnia and don't really know why this is happening, what you can do about it, you've tried absolutely everything and nothing is working, just know that that is not your fault. I do encourage you to sign up to my 5 days to better sleep email series that is linked here below. And that will actually break down the educational components that you need and the process that you need in order to break insomnia holistically. That means without strict rules and without medication. So what exactly is a hypnic jerk? You know that you are lying in bed, perhaps you're starting to feel calm, you're releasing the fight with sleep, and precisely in that transitional phase between wakefulness and the first and early stages of sleep, which are also our lightest, this is where hypnic jerks happen. As we are falling asleep, our nervous system is powering down. That means that our heart rate is beginning to slow down, our breathing becomes more regular, and our muscles are starting to relax. During this transitional phase of, hyperarousal to rest and digest, our brain areas that control movement, specifically within our brainstem, can briefly misfire. This means that the misfire sends a sudden signal to our muscles that cause a quick jerk or twitch. This is the sensation of being jolted awake. A mismatch between the brain's sleep signals and the body's relaxation process is completely normal. And in fact, it is often triggered by higher levels of stress, anxiety, caffeine. Multiple different factors can affect whether or not they are happening more frequently or if they're happening at all. But all you need to know in today's video is that they are completely normal. In fact, 70 to 90% of humans experience this. And what tends to make them worse is not whether or not they're happening to begin with, but actually how we react to them in the first place. Why are these hypnic jerks happening to begin with? In the context of insomnia, we are already in a heightened state of awareness or alertness. If you're struggling with sleep, staying asleep, or falling asleep, you probably have a fear of what will happen if you do not sleep. What will happen if you can't fall asleep? What will happen if you have a fully sleepless night? If you have this fear and you have identified, yes, that is me, I am afraid of what will happen if sleep doesn't happen, that also means that you have a conditioned, perceived threat of wakefulness. Your nervous system, which is the part of your body that is rooted in survival, is going to try and do everything possible to keep you safe. Wakefulness is one of those things that it is trying to keep you safe from. We're trying to avoid wakefulness, but when we're trying to avoid wakefulness, we're actually stuck in a state of hyperarousal or hyper awareness. We are deployed with cortisol and adrenaline. These are our stress hormones in order for us to fight off wakefulness. When we are actually falling asleep and in that transitional phase between wakefulness and sleep, we are hyper aware as to whether or not sleep is going to happen because we want it so badly in order to avoid wakefulness. But again, this is the opposite state that we need to be in order for sleep to happen. Sleep is a completely passive process that happens in the absence of effort. That means that you do not need to chase it, you do not need to control it. But because we have this fear, it almost feels like we do. So hypnic jerks in this context happen because your body is actually trying to keep you safe. They're not happening because you are broken, you haven't done anything wrong, there isn't any way that you can avoid them. In fact, they happen because we are hyper aware of the fact that we are falling asleep, and falling asleep means that you can no longer fight off wakefulness. So your body is actually jolting you awake in order to fight off the thing that it has created a fear of. And now you're probably thinking, okay, I know why they're happening. They're not dangerous, but they're still happening. What can I actually do about it? And I get it. They can be very frustrating. It feels like your body and mind are working against you as opposed to with you, because you just wish that you could sleep. So if they do present themselves, just know that this is actually perpetrated by how we react. All we can do in insomnia recovery is work on our reaction to wakefulness. In reacting differently, we are again reprogramming our nervous system that wakefulness isn't going to harm us and that we don't need to escape it. In fact, you can actually reframe your mind and see hypnic jerks as something positive, because they are a sign that you are transitioning from wakefulness into sleep. This is a sign that your body is capable of letting go. And when they do happen, instead of actually becoming frustrated or trying to avoid them, simply become aware of them and thank your body for keeping you safe. Instead of feeling, oh no, you can say, oh well, and thank you for warning me of a threat that I do not need to think about or worry about. When we start shifting our perspective and we start actually seeing that all of what we're experiencing is happening for us and not against us, then it's gonna be a lot easier in how we react and how we change our perception of these frustrations. So if they are happening and you are jolted awake, including tonight, just become aware of them. Again, know that your body's trying to keep you safe and try and create comfort and safety for your body. If you feel like you are chasing sleep and then you need to force yourself to fall back asleep, know that that is not possible. And this is where I would encourage you to befriend the situation. If you have no idea what I am talking about, then please go ahead and explore some of my other videos around what befriending wakefulness actually means and how you can also break the insomnia cycle. Anyway, that is all for today's video. So just as a small little recap, hypnic jerks are completely normal involuntary muscle twitches that happen in the transitional phases between wakefulness and sleep. They're an indication that your body is letting go and actually a sign that you are capable of falling asleep to begin with. They happen to insomniacs because we are in a heightened state of alertness, awareness. We're trying to fight off wakefulness. And in order to avoid them from happening, or maybe even stop them from happening altogether, then we need to, instead of focus on them not happening, we need to focus on how we react when they do. Instead of trying to avoid them, welcome them and try and shift your perspective into one of thanking yourself, and then reframe and try and come back to the things that you can actually control. And if you have any other questions or if you're struggling with sleep, please go ahead and drop those questions and comments below, and I promise to get back to you.